Good day to all. Welcome. Currently, with more than 2 million people are affected by COVID-19 all over the world, this pandemic has disrupted the businesses all over the world. Especially supply chain is the most affected part in the businesses, and it is a vital link between the manufacturers and consumers. It is in this chapter we will see how COVID-19 has put question marks on the supply chain worldwide. Here we will try to find out how supply chain is affected by the COVID pandemic. Which areas of supply chain has suffered more during all this disruption? What has put question marks on the part of supply chain? What is the impact on overall economy of the world? Why supply chain has suffered? What the reasons could be? Is there any history of disruptions or pandemic in the recent past or any other disaster which can be related to this particular event? What recovering efforts we can make so to revamp economy? And what will be the impact on supply chain when the pandemic is over? Which types of demands will be raised after the recession? What are the proposed solutions to the future demand and how supply chain can manage blind to the demands? We will try to find out the answers to all these questions. So let's move forward. What are the impacts of COVID-19? World economy is at halt and COVID pandemic has stopped most of the business around the globe. There is a major disruption in supply chain. 75% of the companies has reported that their supply chain is disrupted. Either it is in full or a part of it. Most of the companies has to lay off their staff because production of several industries is reduced to nil or 50% and they do not have businesses. It is estimated that around 450 million people are associated with supply chain worldwide. So if the production is reduced, definitely supply chain entities will also suffer. In the result, manufacturers has no proper demand visibility to produce because of almost 53% information flow is reduced. Which areas of supply chain are affected by this pandemic? Firstly, we see that suppliers are unable to provide raw materials due to multiple factors. It may be non-availability of logistic support or any other reason. Only 30% manufacturers could foresight COVID-19 may spread out of China with this exponential factor. They approached to their suppliers to save their own and vendors' interest. Remaining 70% are still trying to collect data about the location of suppliers who are situated in the lockdown areas. On the other hand, many companies are reporting that they are getting their deliveries late. Lead times are doubled if some of the suppliers are even available for the shipments of raw material. Demand of the several durable goods have significantly reduced, so the producers have stopped their production. All labor-intensive production is either stopped or reduced to 50%. The industry will stockpile inventory if they continue their production because the demand of these durable goods like ACs, refrigerators, automobiles, and electronic items has reduced to 50%. People are buying grocery and other household in bulk. If they are buying more than requirements, it doesn't mean they can consume all. So they are stockpiling. In future, their requirement will be reduced until they have not consumed already bought consumable goods. It will create a snowball effect. The demands will fluctuate once the customers start buying on the stock up during lockdowns. Temporarily, demands for the some products like masks, hand sanitizers, etc. will increase at sudden. Then there might be a gap until people get run out of the stock of these goods, and again they will start buying it all propagate wrong information to the market. The supply chain professional will face difficulty to forecast the actual requirements. All these has caused a total hit of almost $1 trillion of the economy, and it is estimated that this shock could cost around 2 trillion up to the end of this year. People are staying at home and not buying any durable goods. They need food. Food supply chains are the only supply chain which are more active in fast-moving consumer goods in parallel with the healthcare and personal protective gear suppliers. And they must be. Demand for food items may increase because either people have started stockpiling or for the other reasons like visits to restaurants have reduced. Demand for the fast food and junk food items have also been reduced. So there might be hike of demand of food items. Food supply chain has basically three models. Traditional, which participate almost 5 to 10% in economy, they are more labor intensive. Traditional food supply chain systems contribute around 50 to 70% overall in the chain, where public asks for the standards and quality goods. These types of enterprises also are labor intensive. Lastly, modern food supply systems are participating around 50 to 40%, 40 to 50%, and supermarkets are examples of the modern food supplies. Their products are set quality standards. Now, if we see the structure, the supply chains of traditional and transitional might be more affected because they are using labor and labors are not available due to the pandemic. This non-availability of labor will shift the burden to the businesses, which also may cause increase in prices of these daily used goods. Why this pandemic has increased the fear, the worriedness, and the uncertainty in the public? It is because there is no recent history of a pandemic disruptions in modern history, so the world was not prepared actually. Demand's history is showing a disorder in public decisions. So normally people rush towards markets to buy anything which become a part of rumors. We have examples of bulk piling of rice, toilet papers, hand sanitizers, and face masks. On the other hand, manufacturing industry has either laid off or sent their labor on leaves to practice social distancing so they could avoid untoward situation. This untoward situation is having a bad impact on supply chain systems. Transportations are not available due to lockdowns and logistic supports to deliver the goods, so lead times has increased. These are not only, but there are other several reasons which have put question mark on the performance of supply chains. There is another question. Are there any playbooks, operating procedures, or any other guidelines which have been laid down to mitigate the risk and fight back? It's no, because in the modern history we have not faced any event like we are facing nowadays. There have been other external factors like natural disasters, earthquakes, political instabilities, floods, etc., which damage the infrastructure badly. But today, as traffic is also less than usual, we have wide open roads because of the lockdowns. But still, supply chains cannot perform. It is due to lockdowns, non availability of manpower, and transport. This is real. This pandemic is real. So, a way forward is needed to resolve the problem, not for today only, but for the future also. Yes, now we come to that how we can respond to this situation. We need resilient, responsible, and agile actions. Strongly interconnected supply chain professionals will need foresightedness and visualization to forecast and calculate actual demands so to avoid snowball impacts. A fast and stable communication network with trustworthy information, it will provide data to analyze actual requirements. Industries should formulate procedures and charts which direct them to act quickly during this pandemic. For example, they should formulate strategies to develop and raise alternative, diversified, and multiple sources. Moreover, businesses should assist and participate in formulation of government policies on businesses to cater this situation. At above all, ethical behavior is the most important key which should be implemented everywhere in the businesses. Like we know that increase in demands causes increase in prices, but undue increase in price is not ethical. So ethical behavior is one of the most important keys to fight back this situation. Supply chain professionals will need to forecast the demands when the pandemic will be over. There will be a plunge or surge in demands of items of different natures. As discussed earlier, people have stored toilet rolls, canned foods, and lot of other consumables, but consumption is same. So there might be no demand in near future. Possibly it will create a snowball impact. Supply chain professionals will have to utilize their intuitional skills to identify and forecast true demands. They will have to visualize demands for durables and luxury goods like air conditioners, automobiles, electronics, furniture, and lot of other will increase suddenly. To identify demands, supply chain professionals will have to increase visibility and aggressive evaluation. Moreover, they will also need to respond in a resilient and agile way. They should adopt alternative, flexible, and diversified suppliers so in future, God, God forbid, if the situation like today is repeated, they can buy the raw materials and supplies as and when required. So, if we conclude that how things can be managed during and after this pandemic, all we need is to identify and visualize and respond to demands in a resilient way during this situation. Supply chain professionals and all other stakeholders should keep close coordination and share true information. So, to continue supplying, especially edibles and groceries during the lockdowns. There are other things engineering and manufacturing operations are monitoring like technology, partnership, etc. But as a supply chain professional, we must integrate all operations to support uninterrupted flow of goods from suppliers to the consumers. Moreover, all the professionals are required to envisage the requirements which may occur after the pandemic is ended. Supply chain management will play a major role to continue uninterrupted supply of all products in future. So hope this all will be over soon and supply chain professional will be successful during and after all this. At the end, I shall also like to convey the message, repeated message. Please stay home, stay safe until all this is over. Thank you very much for joining us. Have a good day.